My dearest Zena, I wish you were here in my native Nigeria. I hated to leave you so suddenly while I was in America.
If only I had a magic wand. Oh my God. Oh, it was so beautiful.
My acting career keeps me busy, but I know you would love the people and my culture.
You really plan on moving to Africa to live?
It's your choice. Don't worry.
Africa is such a beautiful place. I look forward to going back. My first trip was in 2011. I went to Cape Town, and I'm sure you would agree because everybody I know says the same thing. You go to Africa, and it's just a life-changing experience that you just begin to see things in a different way. And I know for me, the experience was coming back to the US. Um, I couldn't play small anymore. I just could not play small. I don't know what it is about the continent of Africa. Of course, being an African American and knowing that my descendants, my ancestors, had such a horrific journey of being resilient. It could be just that being in a very spiritual, energetic place. But it certainly, when I got back to the States, nothing was the same, and I vowed to never play small again.
Yeah, I actually had a culture shock in reverse, to tell you the truth,
Okay,
when I came back. If you can understand what that means.
tell me about that.
Well, basically, it's like I really know what the American culture is, and I don't like it. I don't like it as much as I thought I did. But and I didn't get that experience in Africa. When I first got there, I felt warm, loved,
Okay.
appreciated. So that's why I'm saying that's why it was a culture shock in reverse. When people say, "Well, you're going to go to Africa, it's going to be a culture shock," but for me, it was a culture shock in reverse. When I got back here, is when I had the culture shock.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm saying the same. I think we're saying the same thing. I got back here and I hadn't seen TV for a month, right? I saw like little snippets of television, but not very much because I was so involved in the culture. I was immersed in the culture and the nature and the beauty. I get back here, it was Thanksgiving Eve. What happens Thanksgiving Eve? Black Friday. I turn on my TV, and the first thing I see are people running over each other to go shopping. And it took me into shock. I
Mhm.
immediately turned it off because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to the US, it was a big culture shock, and as well as having a sense of um, I've been over here. I've been in the U.S. playing small. I go to Africa, and I'm like, I can't come back here and do that anymore.
Yeah, and just in general, Americans need to travel more, period. I don't care if it's Africa, I don't care if it's the UK, I don't care if it's wherever, but that's the bigger piece. The bigger piece there is a big world out there. Your block is not the world. The world is the world. So I think that's important.
That's so true. That's so true. Anytime you're able to step out of your comfort zone, many times that's our house, many times that's our neighborhood, or even our city or state. Anytime you're able to get out, that broadens your horizon, literally.
Yes, yes, it does.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's see. I also wanted to ask you a little bit more about your connection with Nigeria. because there are so many people in the U.S. And I know we've talked about, people going to travel to different places around the world, but there is a concerted emphasis on people traveling to or even moving to Africa, just as you expressed in the film Choices. And what are what are your thoughts about that in terms of why people are drawn to do so? And do you think that the film industry that is really now starting to blossom in Nigeria, particularly with Nollywood and such, that there are people who will have a greater interest in connecting with the continent or connecting with parts in Africa?
Definitely, definitely. I'm involved in some initiatives in general. I'm a member of the African Film Society, which is actually relatively new. It's only 1 year old in Ghana. That was started by the director who directed Color Purple, Blitz Balazzo. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he just started that a little less than a year ago. And that is one thing. So partnering with Africans in general, no matter what the country, is important to do because, especially in my case, because I have to, because what I want to do with my feature film is do a co-production at some point, because I think that will give the better presentation than just to have a total American crew do the work. So that's one thing. And then I'm also a screener for a smartphone film festival out of Nigeria, which is really interesting because they have a lot of Nigerians who are learning the craft. And there's some really good pieces that they're dealing with a smartphone. You can do a whole film on a smartphone. So that's one way. But partnering, to answer your question, partnering in general, we have to do more of that. And sometimes it's going to take research to get to know who the players are. I was able to talk to this one director who's a really good director out in Nigeria called Obi. What is his name? Obi Emelowe, Emeloye. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he's an excellent director. Some of his pieces have been presented on Netflix. One recent piece is called a film called Badamasi. It's about an old Nigerian leader where he does a kind of a bioptic a thing on him. But it's he's a very, very good director. So what I'm saying is, and also there's a film called, it was just came out a couple of years ago, Nollywood in Focus is what it's called. And I saw it at a film festival in San Francisco. So that's really a good place to start. Is not Nollywood in Focus, and you can probably find it online. But just research Nollywood in Focus. So to answer your question, it's about partnering, it's about developing relationships, and it's about really seeing Africa for what it is. It has the good, the bad, and the ugly, like any other place. But being responsible and being committed and intentional about working with Africa.
Wow. Let's talk about being a woman in the in the industry, right? Um, some of the same things that we find in terms of opportunities and challenges as African American creatives. What would you say in terms of being a woman in this industry? What are the opportunities and what are the challenges?
Well, the biggest opportunity is that you are a woman. The fact that you have a perspective, you have a point of view, you can always coordinate that with whoever you're working with. The downside of it is you are a woman. A lot of times you won't be accepted because you are, especially on a set, on a Hollywood set. A lot of times there's a lot of harassment going on, that kind of thing. But if when I started in television, I didn't even think about man or woman. I just I want to be a creator. I want to produce. Who's calling the shots here? That's what I want to do. And so I looked at it as Deborah wanting to do something that she enjoyed doing. And the more women think that way, the less and less the outside noise will go away. The more and more the outside noise will go away.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you just can't discount the things that we have seen, the rising stars of women in film behind the camera that are doing such great things. Like we said, Shonda Rhimes, Ava DuVernay. We look at people who are have made their names in acting careers, but have now also shifted to behind the camera,
Right.
and it's incredible to see that growth.
Yeah, there's always been women players like Julie Dash. I mean, she's one creative person who's still going strong. I just saw an interview with her and Ava DuVernay not too long ago, and it was amazing the kinds of things that she's doing. She started basically back in the early '80s, and she did the film The Daughter of the Dust. And there's an African woman, I can't think of her name. She was kind of a premier to women in the industry. So there's always someone to lean back on as you go forward as a woman in filmmaking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have great stories, and coming from the woman's perspective, it's important that those stories are told. I was sharing with a young actor here in Kansas City about the fact that cinema is a part of the human lexicon, that we have always wanted to share our story in a way that other people can understand or have some type of empathy with. And so it's not just about, Hollywood or the dollars it takes to do this, that, and the other, but the ability to share a part of our human landscape with generations to come, because we, like you were saying with Julie Dash, and then all the people that came before her, we really uh, depend on having that type of artistry so that we can have some sense of what it's like to take us into the future, whether those things were negative things or challenges. It helps us to see what we can do better. What would you say about that?
Definitely. If you don't know the history, you're bound to repeat. You're bound to say, well, this is the first of this, and this is the first. No, it was two others or three others before that. And you need to go back and study what they went through so that you can push forward quicker than you would if you didn't know your history.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do want to go back to the film that we're going to be having on FAVunite, which is Choices, and give yourself another opportunity to really say what you want people to glean from not only that, but why it's important for a delicate balance to have that story told as well. What is your vision for choices, and what is your vision for a delicate balance?
Well, they both have the same vision. Choices is more to, it's kind of like a teaser for people to say, wow, I never thought about going to Africa. Or, wow, we really do have some misconceptions regarding what's going on in Africa. And wow, we can really do some things creatively, co-partnering, collaboratively with Africa. That's what I wanted to say out of choices. Now, as far as a delicate balance, I want them to see the whole big cinematic piece on how beautiful it is, how exciting it is, how it's very modernized. There are rural places, like there are rural places in America, the same way that there are in Africa. But there's a very modern aspect to it too, and that's the one thing that I want to bring out in Delicate Balance. That is, we're all in the 21st century together. There are more iPhones over there than there are over here because that's the quickest infrastructure they can use instead of the land, because the landlines became a problem over time. But in countries that are developing, or I should say redeveloping for Africa, the iPhone is a thing. It's a thing. Technology is a thing right now over there, and it's growing ever so fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that there's a sense of you because, and you just basically said so. There's a part of you that really wants to educate people about Africa and educate people through the medium of film. Um, so, so for the younger people that are going to be watching that really have no clue as to what Africa is about or why it's important for them to understand and know about Africa, what more would you want to say?
I would say to get to know an African, if there's someone that's in your class or someone that's close to you in your neighborhood, get to know them. Because that's what the two films represent is that, and I wanted to do it that way instead of doing a documentary, because I want people to say, these are real people with dreams, hopes, desires, just like you. And so that's the important piece that I want people in general to get out of it. This is a human relationship that we're dealing with, not some statistic or some whatever in a research book. This is real living and real life.
Thank you for watching OnStage on FAVunite TV. If you're new to FAVunite TV and you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a comment below, give us a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. If you'd like to see more content from FAVunite TV, go ahead and subscribe. We're here for Black stories and Black storytellers. We're showcasing the culture on FAVunite TV.